Hello and welcome to today's episode on part 2 of Organizational Structure and Design. My name is Rayan Zuhur and the subject expert is Dr. Arshia Hussain, PhD in Human Resource Management and teaching in the Department of Commerce and Business Studies, Jamia Millia Islamia, New Delhi. Organizational structure is the manner in which job tasks are formally grouped, divided and coordinated within an organization. When managers develop a new structure or change an existing structure, they are said to be involved in organizational design. It is a process that requires decision making about 6 elements. In the last episode, we discussed 4 out of these 6 elements: work specialization, departmentalization, chain of command, span of control. In today's episode, we will discuss the other 2, centralization and decentralization, formalization. We will also begin a discussion on common organizational designs, centralization and decentralization. The top managers in some organizations are largely responsible for decision making and make all the decisions. The managers at the lower levels and the other employees take no part in making decisions and just carry out the instructions and orders that are given by the top managers. On the other hand, there are organizations where decision making is mostly the responsibility of the managers who are close to the ground level and are in the middle of operations. The first case is from organizations that are centralized and the second case is from organizations that are decentralized. Centralization. When decision making is concentrated to one individual or one position in an organization, then that organization is centralized. In such an organization, the top manager makes all the important decisions with little or no input from managers at lower levels or from other employees. Decentralization. When managers at all levels, including the lower levels and other employees, provide inputs towards decision making or are a part of the actual decision making, then that organization is decentralized. Another term that is commonly used for higher level of decentralization is employee empowerment, which refers to giving more authority to employees for making decisions. It must be kept in mind that the idea of centralization and decentralization is not absolute but is relative. Organizations are neither entirely centralized or decentralized. It will be difficult for organizations to operate effectively in a situation where all decisions were made by one individual or a small group of individuals consisting of top managers. Similarly, it will be difficult for an organization to function effectively if all decisions were dependent on employees at the ground level. Contemporary view. In today's world, organizations generally start with a centralized model where the founder of the organization makes all the decisions. When the organization grows, its environment becomes more complex. When this happens, the organization needs to become more flexible and be in a position where it can respond faster. This requires the organization to adopt a decentralized framework. When organizations become large, the lower level managers are more involved in regular day-to-day operations and have more knowledge about the problems and the issues that are faced every day. They are therefore in a position to solve them better as compared to the managers at the higher levels who do not have a detailed understanding of the day-to-day operations. Let us take the example of a large organization which has hundreds of branches globally. The manager of a small branch in Sydney who is at a lower level would be able to respond faster to any situation that the branch might face than a senior manager who is located in New York. The manager in Sydney would also have a better understanding of the issue and would be able to handle it in a more intelligent and effective manner. There are several factors that make organizations move towards either centralization or decentralization. Organizations that are exposed to environments that are more dynamic are more likely to feel the need to adjust rapidly to change. This would lead them to move towards decentralization. A stable environment encourages an organization to make more rules and procedures and makes it easier for an organization to stay centralized. An educational institute that operates in one location, which is a small town with a small population, is more likely to have a centralized administration, whereas an educational institute which operates in a large city which has multiple campuses is more likely to have a decentralized administration. It will be more effective for the institute if it treated every campus as a separate unit, and it would be able to make decisions to support a more complex and dynamic environment. Formalization. This refers to the level of standardization for jobs within an organization and also includes the degree to which the behavior of employees is controlled by rules and procedures. When an individual doing a job has very little freedom to choose what needs to be done, when it should be done, and how it should be done, then that job has a high level of formalization. A manager can expect the workers to handle the same input using exactly the same method. This results in an output which is consistent and uniform. The job description in such organization with a high level of formalization are detailed, precise and clear. They have a large number of organizational rules and procedures that are clearly defined and cover all the work processes entirely. Whereas, when we look at organizations with a low level of formalization, we observe that job behaviors are not as structured and individuals have a substantial degree of freedom in terms of how they will do their job. The level of formalization could be vastly different when we compare one organization to another. Sometimes even within an organization, the level of formalization could be very different from one team to another. Let us take the example of a newspaper or a magazine. Reporters, journalists and writers often have a lot of discretion when they are doing their job. Many of them might be able to pick their own stories, choose the topic they want to write on, research for the article in the way they feel would be the most effective, and write them in their own words. They need to follow very few guidelines which are very broad in their nature. However, when we look at other employees in the same organization, employees who lay out the newspaper pages and print it have jobs that have a high level of formalization. They work under many constraints. They need to follow standard procedures and strict guidelines for doing their jobs. Contemporary view. In today's world, a lot of organizations do not have strict rules and regulations to guide employees and regulate their behavior. However, a certain level of formalization is necessary for some control and to maintain consistency in work. Let us look at an example. A dry cleaner's shop accepts clothes for dry cleaning till 5 p.m. for next day delivery. Customers who drop clothes off after 5 p.m. get delivery the day after. It is 5:15 p.m. and a customer walks in with a few clothes and requests for a next day delivery. The rule is that he will not be given delivery the next day, and the employee knows this rule and might get in trouble for breaking the rule if he promises the customer next day delivery. The reason that the company has this rule is that the vehicle that comes to pick up the clothes and take them where they will be dry cleaned comes to the shop at 5:05 p.m. The vehicle is late today and will not arrive for another 20 minutes. Knowing this, the employee has accepted the clothes and promised the customer delivery for the next day. The employee did break a rule in this situation, yet what he did was the right thing to do. By accommodating a customer, he provided great customer service and also earned revenue for the company. Situations like this, where following the rules might not necessarily be good for the company, arise frequently. Many companies give their employees some freedom and let them use their judgment in certain situations and encourage them to make decisions and do what they think is the best. However, this does not mean that the employee can break any rule whenever he wants. There are rules that are important and must be followed at all times. The employees should be explained the difference between the rules that should never be broken and the rules where they have some liberty to use their judgment. Common organizational designs. There are several types of organizational designs that exist in large organizations and in small businesses. When managers need to make a decision about the organizational design, they can choose between traditional organizational designs and contemporary organizational designs. Traditional organizational designs. When a manager needs to design a structure that will support the achievement of organizational goals in an effective and efficient manner, he could choose to follow organizational designs that are traditional. These designs tend to be more mechanistic in nature. Some of these designs are the simple structure, the functional structure, and the divisional structure. Simple structure. This is a design where organizational structure has low departmentalization and a wide span of control. Authority is generally centralized in a single individual and there is very little formalization. When an organization is created, it generally begins as an entrepreneurial venture and has a simple structure, which consists of the owners and the employees. They mostly follow this structural design. Small businesses where the owner and the manager are the same person find it suitable to adopt this design. Most organizations change and they do not maintain the same simple structure. As the business of an organization grows, it keeps adding employees and the number of employees increases. When the number of employees increases significantly, the organization tends to become more formalized and creates different departments. New rules and regulations are added and the nature of work becomes more specialized. Different departments are created, the levels of management increase and the structure of the organization becomes more bureaucratic. When the organization reaches this level, the manager needs to make a decision about how he wants to organize the company. He could choose between a functional structure or a divisional structure. Strengths. It is fast, there is a lot of flexibility, it is not expensive to maintain, there is a clear accountability. Weaknesses. This structure is not appropriate for organizations when they grow. Complete reliance on one person can pose significant risks. Functional structure. A functional structure is where the organization is structured by clubbing together jobs that are similar or related. It is where departmentalization is applied to the entire organization on the basis of function. For example, an organization could be structured around the functions of operations, research and development, for products, finance and human resources. Strengths. There are significant cost saving advantages that come from specialization. They include economies of scale, duplication of people and equipment is reduced to the minimum, employees who work on similar tasks are grouped together, Weaknesses. Following functional goals can result in managers losing sight of the bigger picture and the course that would be the best for the organization. Functional specialists get cut off from the rest of the organization and do not have a good understanding of what the other units in the organization are doing. Divisional structure. A divisional structure is where the organization is structured in a way that it comprises of different business units or divisions. In a structure like this, the autonomy of different units or divisions is relatively reduced. A division manager is responsible for overall performance and has strategic as well as operational authority over the unit that is assigned to him or her. However, the central leadership generally oversees the coordination and control of different departments. It also provides support services like financial or legal to different departments. Strengths. The organization is able to focus on results. The responsibility of how the products and services perform lies squarely on the division managers. Weaknesses. There is duplication of activities and resources. This results in an increase in costs and a reduction in efficiency. Contemporary organizational designs. Managers in contemporary organizations face dynamic and complex environments and have been increasingly finding traditional designs outdated to face such conditions. The demands of the current marketplace are that organizations should be lean and flexible. They should be innovative and be in a position to react to market conditions swiftly. To handle such an environment, managers have to be creative and develop ways to structure and organize their work accordingly. They have to ensure that their organizations are responsive enough to manage the needs of their customers, their employees and other aspects of the organizational structure. In several organizations, the workforce is spread out and the employees often need to rely on shared workspaces and virtual networks in order to get the work done. If the organizational design is appropriate, the work will get done effectively and efficiently. Team structure. This is a design where the entire organization is made up of teams or work groups that perform the work that is done in the organization. The empowerment of employees is crucial in a team structure like this, as the line of authority of managers from the top to the bottom does not exist. The work groups or teams are given authority to design work in the way they find to be most effective. At the same time, the teams are responsible for all the work that they do and the performance results of their respective work groups. In large organizations, the team structure works along with a functional structure. This addition of another structure allows an organization to continue to maximize the efficiency of a bureaucracy and utilize the flexibility that teams provide. Project organization. This is a structure where the organization is aligned towards completing one large project or a small number of large projects. A team of specialists who come from different fields is created for each project. A team created in such a manner is different from functional departments and is independent of them too. The size of a project is generally different from one project to another. A project manager coordinates the activities of the project team and is assisted by experts from within the organization and from outside it too. A project organization is created by getting together a team of specialists to work on and execute a specific project. This design has been developed to manage situations where strategies of production and marketing are different from those followed by regular functional organizations. We see project organization being used in companies that operate in areas like aerospace, construction and aircraft manufacturing. In such companies, projects need to be executed with a high standard of performance. We generally see multiple specialists from diverse fields, and it is important that they function at a horizontal level and have a similar authority relationship with each other. In industrial organizations, project teams could be created to enable the design and development of a new product, or it could be to facilitate the setting up of a new plant. In a project structure, there is a general manager who looks after a single project or a small number of independent projects. Each project has several autonomous teams like project design and development, quality and control, engineering, procurement, scheduling, human resource management, and so on. The project structure is created, but that does not have any effect on the existing structure of the organization. A project organization is required when a company needs to execute a project that requires a high standard of performance, like an aircraft company would require. Some project organizations are created for a one-time project and their setup is temporary and are dissolved once the project has been completed. However, when the duration of a project is long, the project organization takes a permanent form and might become a regular autonomous project division which is organized functionally. Summary. Centralization and decentralization. The top managers in some organizations are largely responsible for decision making and make all the decisions. On the other hand, there are organizations where decision making is mostly the responsibility of the managers who are close to the ground level and are in the middle of operations. The first case is from organizations that are centralized and the second case is from organizations that are decentralized. Formalization. This refers to the level of standardization for jobs within an organization and also includes the degree to which the behavior of employees is controlled by rules and procedures. When an individual doing a job has very little freedom to choose what needs to be done, when it should be done and how it should be done, then that job has a high level of formalization. Common organizational designs. There are several types of organizational designs that exist in large organizations and in small businesses. When managers need to make a decision about the organizational design, they can choose between traditional organizational design and contemporary organizational designs. Traditional organizational design. When a manager needs to design a structure that will support the achievement of organizational goals in an effective and efficient manner, he could choose to follow organizational designs that are traditional. These designs tend to be more mechanistic in nature. Some of these designs are simple structure. This is a design where the organizational structure has low departmentalization and a wide span of control. Authority is generally centralized in a single individual and there is very little formalization. Functional structure. A functional structure is where the organization is structured by clubbing together jobs that are similar or related. It is where departmentalization is applied to the entire organization on the basis of functions. Divisional structure. A divisional structure is where the organization is structured in a way that it comprises of different business units or divisions. In a structure like this, the autonomy of different units or divisions is relatively reduced. This is all we have for today. Hope the session was informative. We will meet again in the next episode with part 3 of organizational structure and design. Till then, take care and goodbye.